Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about why it may not be so good for us to be an empath. And to do that, I'm going to talk about the difference between being an empath and empathy, and also the truth about empaths that the experts won't tell you. Now, to start with, let's define the difference between an empath and empathy. What happens with an empath is they absorb people's emotions. They become others' emotions. So, in other words, they could be feeling this way, and the second you introduce some sort of sensation, usually a person, it completely alters who they are inside. Empathy is completely different. Empathy is the ability to take somebody's story and hear it, equate it to something in your own life and go, wow, I remember feeling like that. And put yourself in their shoes and remember from your own experience what it was like to be going through something like that, and then join them. But do you hear the major difference between the two? Somebody with empathy never loses themselves. They stay contained. They are an individual, while an empath has no individuality. They are not a whole person. They become the other person. And now we get into the difficult part of this. And if you identify as an empath, I'm not here to disparage you. It's something I had to learn and own because this was me. But what the experts won't tell you is that being an empath is severely dysfunctional. And again, that's not a judgment. It's not meant to criticize. It's meant to help you. Now, to make it very simple to prove it to you, go to Google right now and just type in empath. And you're going to see countless articles about empaths, 10 characteristics, 15 characteristics, all these different things that signify what an empath is. And you're going to find some common themes. They'll say empaths absorb other people's emotions. They can become overwhelmed in intimate relationships. They have huge hearts, but sometimes they give too much. They're highly sensitive. They don't like conflict. They have a hard time setting boundaries. And it goes on and on like that. Energy really affects them. They tend to be loners. They need quiet time and to get away because everything is so draining. Now, I want you to Google codependence and look at the traits. See, an empath is not, unfortunately, we've made it this sign of courage or somehow it makes you better than somebody else, when in fact, if you look at what an empath is and what a codependent is, they're identical. An empath is somebody who's suffering from severe codependency. It is not healthy. It is not okay to be an empath. Did you hear? Remember the difference between an empath and empathy. It's not true empathy. It's a complete loss of self that gets distorted by any person, place, or thing that comes into their environment. Well, that's not a good quality. Now, there are some good strengths of an empath. They tend to be more intuitive. But see, that's an internal process where they intuit, they observe, and they may pick up on things, but they don't become the thing. So there are some strengths to being an empath. Unfortunately, we are perpetuating this myth that to be an empath is healthy, it somehow makes you better than others, and is really something you want to strive for. No, we want to strive for empathy. We want to stay contained within ourselves and be able to look at our own personal experiences, hear somebody else's, and identify, but not lose ourselves. See, an empath has no sense of self. They become the selves of others. Well, that's highly dysfunctional. Could you imagine living that way? Like, that was me. Anywhere I went, I would become whatever everyone was around us. And if you watch some of my videos, I will talk about how I have this great gift, Well, it's not a gift. I had to finally own, oh my God, this is severe dysfunction. This isn't healthy at all, to lose myself and become what everyone else is around me. That's no way to live. You do have to isolate, and then you feel like you don't belong because you don't even belong to yourself.